Our next honoree will be actress Patricia Bruder, Debrovner. But before she comes up, I want to tell you a little known fact, and that is the long list of Madisonians that have been successful in stage, screen, and radio. Let me give you some examples. Martin Landau, actor. Irwin Shaw, The Young Lions. Al Kasha, 2 Academy Awards for music. Larry Kasha, numerous Broadway hits. Sid Ganis, president of the Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Arnie Kopelson, Academy Award for the Best Picture. Jim Giannopoulos, currently CEO of 20th Century, and of course the wonderful Carole King, who is on Broadway now. And the list is big. It's a long list. So to this illustrious list today, we add Patsy, and I'm going to call her by the name that everybody knows her from her class, Patsy Bruder Debrovner. So Patsy, please. And I wanted to say that we welcome her to the same stage where she learned her craft and entertained so many Madison students 60 years ago.
I want to thank the committee that chose me and Sue Breslau-Dillon, who nominated me to the committee. I'm truly humbled to be in such distinguished company on our wall of distinction. I feel very fortunate to have been a student here at Madison. I actually didn't come here until the second semester of my sophomore year. I had started my career at a very early age, and before I graduated from PS 197, I was hired to understudy a leading role in a play on Broadway called The Innocents. It was an adaptation of Henry James' novel, The Turn of the Screw. About a week later, the girl I was understudying got sick, and I went on for her, and again about a dozen more times. And then they asked me to play the role for the national tour. It was coming up in September. So my freshman year of high school, my mother went with me as we crossed the country. It was very exciting, and I loved playing that role. I did my schoolwork through correspondence with the Professional Children's School in Manhattan. I had always loved school, and I did my assignments diligently, mailed them to the school. My teachers would mark them and send them back to me. But I didn't have the benefit of my teachers guiding my studies in person, and I had no classmates. The next year, the first semester of my sophomore year, I was in a play on Broadway called Lace on Her Petticoat, so I continued my studies with the Professional Children's School. Since the school was in the city, and I had to travel to and from the theater each night to our home in Brooklyn. I only could be in class on Mondays after I had a good night's sleep Sunday nights. The other days, I continued to work independently. Well, after the show closed, I wanted very much to transfer to my neighborhood high school and be with classmates. This was what was called the golden age of live television drama. And I had started to appear on some television shows like Studio One and Kraft Television Theater, so I hoped that somehow it might be possible to combine my academics with my acting career. And fortunately, the administration here at Madison agreed to consider any times that I missed class to be on a television show to be a valid absence, as long as I kept my grades up. And so in the spring of 1952, I became a Madisonian. After having done my studies alone by myself, it meant so much to me to be part of our Madison community and to make such lovely friends. Our teachers were stimulating, wonderful teachers who inspired my interest, made my studies come alive. I loved math with Mr. Morgenstern, English with Miss Tannenbaum, all our fun art projects, and being in the chorus and boosters. And thanks to Madison, I had my one and only experience playing a Shakespearean role. MGM was holding a citywide contest to help publicize its new film, Julius Caesar. Well, each high school in the competition presented a scene from one of Shakespeare's plays, and our team did The Merchant of Venice, and I got to play Portia. Of course, what I am most grateful for in my happy days at Madison was getting to meet the love of my life, that handsome, brilliant, wonderful guy who was a year ahead of me, Chuck Debrovner. Sue Breslau and I had been buddies since we were little kids, and Sue invited me, we just lived a few houses away from each other, on January 23rd, 1952. Sue invited me to go with her to a party that Peggy Freundlich was giving, a surprise birthday party for her younger sister, Marjorie. Well, at the last minute, the boy who was supposed to bring Marjorie to the party got sick. And they convinced Chuck to bring her, with the understanding that then he would be allowed to leave and go to the party of his social athletic club, the Warriors, that they were giving that night. When Chuck and I met at Peggy's party, it was love at first sight. We went to the Warrior party together, and the rest is history. Next month, we'll celebrate our 57th anniversary. I'm so glad that our daughters Diane and Caroline and her partner Randy, our granddaughter Abby, my sister Joan and her husband Stewart, who's also a Madison graduate, are all here with me today. I can't help but feel moved by the thought that current and future generations of students here might discover me on the wall and be inspired to develop their talents. I wish them the luck that they'll need and the many joys that creative work can bring. Thank you.